You are listening to the Proverbs for Living a Fulfilling Life podcast. Hi, this is your host, Dr. Rick Upchurch. These Proverbs come from a lifetime of experience. My goal in sharing them with you is to help you avoid some of life's pitfalls and hopefully give you some tools to live a more fulfilling life. I hope you will ponder the proverb in this episode and take away something that you can use. Episode 53, Motivation. Do you know what motivates you? What gives you the energy to accomplish the task that is set before you? The most obvious motivation is money. You're motivated to go to work because you are getting paid. If someone were to offer you more money to go to a work at a different place, you might be tempted to take the offer and change jobs. But you might not. Why? If money is a prime motivator, why wouldn't you always seek the job or do the thing that resulted in a bigger paycheck? The answer lies in understanding the basics of motivation. People are motivated in two ways. Extrinsically, which includes money, but can also include anything that comes from an external source. That is, something that someone gives you. Extrinsic motivation goes beyond money and includes hope for money or other reward. That's the lure of the lottery and other kinds of gambling scenarios. Extrinsic motivation is a powerful motivator, but the science shows that it is only effective up to a point. While that point is different for everyone, it has to do with meeting the level of having enough to feel secure. I know that's nebulous, and there are always a few for whom there is never enough. But for most of us, once we reach that magic level of enough, think of me putting quotation marks around that word, extrinsic motivation begins to not be as effective. Think about this in terms of job satisfaction. I know many people who are gladly working for a lower salary than they had previously been making simply for the fact that they have better job satisfaction at the position that pays less. What is job satisfaction? How can that compete with earning more money? I also know people who have left their job entirely, even when no other job was pending, because they felt the job required them to do things that they felt were ethically or morally wrong. How could someone forfeit their livelihood based on their values? That leads us to the second type of motivation. The other type, or the second type of motivation, is called intrinsic. Intrinsic comes from inside ourselves and includes feeling appreciated, feeling fulfilled, feeling as if you have contributed to another person's well-being, feeling like you are making a difference. It can encompass things like job satisfaction and has to do with personal values. It has been proven that intrinsic motivation is superior to extrinsic motivation. In other words, throwing money at a problem may not be as effective as you might think. If a person feels their basic needs are being met, they will always respond better to intrinsic motivation than extrinsic. And if a person feels their values are being compromised, intrinsic motivation will often override the considerations of extrinsic motivation, such as when a person will quit a job for moral reasons, even though they need the money, or turn down a better paying job that would require them to ignore their personal values. I had that kind of experience many years ago. Although what I was being asked to do wasn't immoral or unethical in and of itself, I felt it was duplicitous and creating a fraudulent story. In other words, I felt like I was contributing to a lie. So, after some serious prayer and soul searching, I resigned. We had no other income at the time, and this was a very hard decision. I immediately took a job at a fast food restaurant while seeking a better job. And for me and most people, the intrinsic motivation of core values will outweigh the extrinsic. I'm thankful for God and how He worked in our lives from that point. Thus, the most effective motivation means reinforcing intrinsic rewards. And to do this, you have to understand what is important to others. That is, what are the values that they hold? Extrinsic rewards, for example, throwing money at a problem, will only go so far in achieving high performance, especially once that individual's basic needs are being met and they've reached that magic number of enough to feel secure. Find the intrinsic motivation that fits and then seek to reinforce that. When you do that, meeting your goals will follow. Some might say this is manipulative. However, I would disagree. Let me give you an illustration. If my superior knows that I am fulfilled most when helping people and that it brings me more satisfaction than working on spreadsheets or other duties, if my superior, knowing my preferences, aligns my work responsibilities so that I am in a position to help others, then who's being manipulated? Instead of that, both me and my supervisor are benefiting from such an alignment. I get to help people, and the company benefits from the positive attitude I bring to the assignment. Everybody wins. Understanding extrinsic and intrinsic motivation is important to understanding yourself and how to effectively lead others. Thanks for listening to this episode. I want to encourage you to please subscribe and, if you don't mind, refer the podcast to a friend. In every case, the information in these episodes is merely the tip of the iceberg of information related to that specific topic. If you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me by emailing proverbs@upchurch-consulting.com. I'll look forward to hearing from you. If you would like to know more about God's Word or how God works in the world and in your life, I highly recommend checking out Wesley Biblical Seminary. This is a solid, accredited seminary with fully online programs at a reasonable cost. Best of all, in my opinion, WBS approaches the Bible from a Wesleyan holiness perspective that embraces free will. You can check them out at wbs.edu.